Hello gang, welcome back to Cliff's Backyard Garage. Today we're going to switch gears a little bit, not moving away from Oscar or any of the other projects I got going on. I'm going to do a little customization to my 2013 Yamaha Zuma 50F. The F is for 4-stroke, not the 2-stroke more desirable version. Let's walk around this thing and check it out real quick. So this is a 4-stroke Yamaha. It's a scooter, this thing here does about 40 miles an hour. But I'm not happy with it. I bought this old thing from the auction. As you can probably tell from the auction numbers right there. This is old number 42. This thing was a theft recovery. When I got it, the ignition is obviously missing. And they had it hot wired. But yeah, this thing came from the auction. I assume it's a theft recovery because of the ignition being missing. But I got paperwork now and she's all mine. So, I kind of like the scooter. It's all right. I've ordered a new ignition for it, but I just don't want to ride this thing stock, guys. So I plan to customize this thing heavily. So I guess best place to start is by blowing this sucker apart, and I'll show you guys what I got going on. Okay gang, I got all the body panels off, but I just want to stop right here and show you guys this engine. Okay, now this is the 2013 Yamaha 50F, as I stated earlier. But all of this wiring harness and the engine, of course, is coming off. Even the hand controls are coming off. Now, I can't use this wiring harness because this is a fuel injected Yamaha. You can see there's a fuel injector there and there's a fuel pump. Now, the GY6 168 engine that I'm throwing on is carbureted. You can see here, I have a 28 millimeter OKO carburetor. And it's a flat slide carb. Better than the stock GY6 carburetor. Which, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I understand. But yeah, so the whole harness of the bike is going to have to come off. I'm going to replace the harness with a Chinese GY6 harness off another bike that I have, and I'm going to cannibalize for this project. But yeah, I stopped right at taking the lower splash pan off because it's not going to get in the way. But yeah, all of this wiring harness, everything, speedo is gonna have to come off. I'm gonna change out the handlebars too. I have some custom handlebars for this sucker too. So all of the voltage regulators and the computer or whatever this thing is here. I'm assuming it's a computer for the Yamaha. Not sure. Not too knowledgeable on the Yamahas. Hondas, yeah. Chinese bikes, of course, but these Yamahas are a little bit of a mystery to me. But I plan on keeping the tank, and I'm going to have to tap this tank. I'm going to get rid of the fuel injection, of course, because it's not going to work with my carburetor. But I'm going to have to tap this tank with a little fuel neck on the bottom. Now here's the radiator, the antifreeze for the Yamaha. Cause see, this is water cooled. You can see up in there, there's a radiator. And this engine is air cooled, so we're not going to need none of this. But like I say, I'm going to leave the splash pan on because right now it's not in the way. But I am going to remove everything I do not need. But I'm going to start right here with the front wheel because mainly I'm curious. I want to see if this is going to fit. If not, I'm going to have to machine the front triple tree. These parts here to hold the shock. This part here from the stem up is called a triple tree. So I might have to machine it if it won't fit. I doubt that I will, because like if I tried to show you guys before earlier, these things they have a split in them. This one bolt holds tension and just squeezes the shock. So I might get that millimeter that I need for these to fit. So I'm going to pull this wheel off and we're going to see if it fit. Alright guys, I got the front shocks off outside of the triple tree there. just had to take these two bolts out and finesse them out a little bit. But for you guys who have never seen what's inside of the shocks on a motorcycle or a scooter, they're pretty much the same. Pretty much you have your silver shaft, and inside under this cap is a spring, and it's filled with gear oil or some type of fluid. You know, you can see it all over my bench there. But yeah, basically that's it, man. And they just use, most of them have a cap like this to go on top, and as it goes up and down, it rides on this spring, and that what gives you the shock effect. Okay, all right, I'm gonna get this thing on off. See, it's all the way in bolted, so we can go ahead and slide on our new bling bling right there. Now this is a 12-inch wheel. This is a 10, so we're gonna be stepping up in size, but also at the same time you can see our forks, our shocks are shorter than these shocks. So I'll go ahead and get this on off, and we want to see will it fit. Alright gang, after a little bit of finessing, I was able to get one of the low down shocks inside the mount, and as you can see from the gap here that I can stick my pinky into almost, from the other side that, you know, I barely can't get nothing in there. Maybe the tip of my screwdriver just right inside. And yeah, you can see how much I had to bend out the shock clamps on the triple tree here. But I mean, it's in there, there's no cracking, nothing. The mounting bolt, it bolts in, so I'm gonna go ahead and finesse this side, get the other shock in, and we can go ahead and try to get the wheel in. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's all the way to the top. There's a little lip in here that on these old shocks, it's set right up under here. Now on the new ones, it's gonna sit right up on top. So, all right guys, I'm gonna finesse this other side and get it in, and heck, first step of customizing the 2013 Yamaha Zuma is all on the way. Alright gang, got the other shock in there. I just got to go ahead and clamp them on, bolt them down. I mean, that is a dramatically wider gap than we had before. But I don't see any cracking in the powder coating or any signs that the triple tree is going to crack and break. So hey, we're going to roll with it for now, right? But now I do have to put the shims in. This shim fits this axle that's in here that's sticking out, but as you can see, it's too big for this side. So I'm probably going to end up at cutting it down on this side, and for this side where the speedo cable goes in, I'm gonna pull the stock one off the stock Zuma wheel, this piece here, flip it around. You can see the speedometer cable goes in right there. Now I don't know if it's going to give me the distance, I got to measure it, but I might try to go ahead and keep the speedo, the original speedo, or just, I got a couple more of these little shims. I might got one, I think I got one, but it's a little longer. I'll have to trim it down too. But I'll check it out, man. The front wheel is on. You know, she has some bling on her now. You know, and this wheel matches the back wheel, almost. It almost matches the back wheel. We have the engine sitting here, so you know, same 5-star design. I just got to get me a center cap put in there. But yeah, guys, the front end is going to come together, looks like. So, well, that's the only thing I was really worried about. Now putting the engine on, like I say, the 150 is a top mount. This 50cc Yamaha engine is the top mount too, but slightly different design. You can see here where it bolts in. This is the motor mount that goes around. Now, with the mount that's already on the 150cc, the one for the Ruckus, all I would have to do is weld a bar in between here, you know, and clamp it to it. Simple. Or I can just, you know, frustrate myself and try and make something where it would bolt into the factory mounts. I don't know. We're gonna figure that out once we get the motor off. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the front wheel first. I mean, she's lined up. I mean, the center line of the wheel is, you know, straight up at the middle of the triple tree. You know, she's not cocked to one side or anything. Looks pretty good. So I gotta pay some bills real quick, but we're gonna come back and I'm gonna take all the wiring harness off. I'm gonna take the whole wiring harness, hand controls, everything off, all the way down. Now, I did plumb in the brake line from the stock front brakes. You know, it fits and everything. I think they're all pretty much of a standard size for these scooters. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. Let me go run and pay these bills real quick, and I'll be back in 1 sec, and we'll strip the back end, and that's why I'll cut you guys back in. All right, gang, I'm back. Well, I went through my stash of parts that I know, well, the ones that I can find, because a lot of you guys may have noticed I have moved. I am not in the trailer park anymore, but I found the axle shaft, the one I probably was thinking about, but it is too small. I think this is a 12mm shaft, and this is like a 10mm axle spacer. But man, it's long enough to be cut, you know. But hey, I'm not going to sit here and just waste my time. Here's the one size I need, 12mm. I'm thinking this is the 10, but oh well. I'm not going to waste any time with that. I'm just going to go ahead and order a spacer kit. They come with several different sizes, so it'll make it easier. I'm just going to go ahead now and just take all the controls off and the wiring harness and the engine, and I'll be right back. Okay, gang, I got the 50cc engine unbolted with the harness complete. I try to not unplug as much as I can and leave the harness intact with the motor. More than likely I'm gonna go back to the auction and see can I find another one, or beat it one that needs an engine or something, and that way I can just save this thing to the side and I have a whole complete engine with wiring harness. Or if I don't and get tired of looking at it, I'll just sell the whole deal. There's a running, driving, complete with wiring harness engine. 9 times out of 10, that's what's probably going to happen, because I don't think I'm buying any more scooters, guys. I mean, I've made a lot of money refurbishing scooters and selling them, but just don't have the time. Okay, so now I'm gonna take that thing off the table. We're gonna put the 168cc up there and loosely hang all the panels back on it so we can kind of get a gist of what this thing is going to look like when it's done. All right, let me get that together for you. All right, gang, I got body panels all loosely hanging up there. Got the 168cc under there. I went ahead and dug out my custom handlebars that I'm going to be putting on this thing. Slap the fender back on. You know, we're in the mock-up stages now. Now, the stance that it has now is close to a stock stance as possible. But since we're going custom, I'm kind of thinking I want to do a little bit of an engine stretch and stretch the motor back a little bit further. So give me 1 sec. I'm gonna roll the engine back to see if I like that stance better. All right, 1 sec. And this is what it would look like stretched, you know. Brought the engine back, you know, say a foot or so, about 12 inches back. And but you know, the body wouldn't be riding this high. The body would come down. I need to buy that little scissor thing that'll adjust the body up and down to the height that I need it. Well, I'll have that before we start welding. But yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really digging the stretch look. on this bike, you know. And of course we're going to give it a paint job. I guess you can kind of guess the color scheme. And oh yeah, I didn't even mention while we were messing around with it the first time, the exhaust came in straight from China, you know, with the little blue tips. It's a cheap pipe. It's probably gonna fall apart on me. Usually these pipes usually break right at the welds because it's so Chinesian metal they got going on. But whatever. I'll bend up a new pipe and weld it better. But yeah, guys, I'm thinking, yeah, that's gonna do it for me right there. So looking like stretch is what it's going to be. Stretch is what it's going to be. Now look at that pipe there, man. So you know she is going to be loud. This thing is not a muffler at all. So 9 times out of 10 that means I'm going to have to upjet, or this thing is going to be throwing flames. Yeah, guys, just wanted to kind of loosely hang everything in place and get a good view, or a good vision of what it's going to look like. And I'll be back with you guys. I got to go to bed, got to go to work. So I'll be right back in a sec and we'll continue. Okay, gang, it's been about 3 weeks since I touched the bike. Now it's probably a good time to get you guys caught up to what I have done since I've been home this morning. All right, now remember the bar I was telling you guys that I had to weld in there? Well, I got it all welded in. Don't nobody laugh at my welds, you know. I just purchased me a one of these Chicago electric flux welders. First time using any kind of wire feed welder, and I don't think I did too bad for my first time using one. Definitely can use practice, but like the old guy saying, tap on it, it ain't going nowhere. So you can see I got the engine all mounted up, and it's lined up pretty good, you know. Still gonna have to raise it up a little bit, but when I put my shock on, that should maybe give me another inch. I have this FRI shock that I got from my neighbor Chase. Chase, if you're watching this, thanks, buddy. I'm finally going to use this thing. But yeah, these shocks here, you know, Chinese little cheap knockoff shock with a fake accumulator, or whatever you want to call it, chamber, tank, I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to use this one. I have 2 of them. This one, the gold plating is faded on it. The other one I have somewhere, see, that's what it's supposed to look like right there. The other one I have is not faded, so whenever I find it in the mountain, the boxes that I still got from the move, I'll put it on. But yeah, once I get it on, it should sit about right there. Yeah, no, I might need to get a bigger shot because I don't think it's going to raise it up enough. But I mean, heck, I'm still not opposed to just cutting this bottom of the mud flap cover off. Can't go too high because my license plate will bolt into this spot here. The license plate light is right there. But yeah, guys, bar is all welded in. It's looking pretty good. I still have to install this bar, which I'm going to have to cut down and drill another hole. This bar here basically keeps the engine stable from moving back and forth, you know. This bar here keeps it mounted straight up and down, but this keeps it going forward back action. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this bar down, drill my hole, mount that in, tighten it up, and pretty much after that, guys, I think only thing we really have to start doing then is well, you know what, next I'm going to work on the gas tank, because I still have the gas tank over here. Let's grab it real quick. You have the gas tank here, which, like I said before, is going to have to be converted from a fuel pump in the tank. I'm going to have to just tap the tank and put a neck in, a fuel neck, so I can run a manual vacuum control fuel pump over to the carb, and then I'll run the wiring harness on. But for now, let me go ahead and take care of this bar, get this sucker installed. I'm going to go ahead and put the shock on, cut that down, and I'll be back with you guys in a sec. Here's a prime example of why you should check before you cut. Now, I just cut my hole here to go from this point to the original engine mounting bracket. Keep the engine from going back and forth, right? Well, I wasn't supposed to cut it here. I was supposed to cut it here. Thank God I just got a new welder, so I guess I'm getting ready to get a little bit more practice on this new welder. Now, just made the first pass on the one side. Not a bad weld if I have to toot my own horn. Not perfect, but not bad. Alright guys, I went ahead and fixed my screw up. Went ahead and re-welded that bar. It's bolted on. It's where it's supposed to be now. I got the shock on too. It's bolted up. Now, I might have to trim that piece just a little bit because we don't have much clearance. I mean, man, I can barely get my finger in there. But she's sitting on her own two wheels again. I guess next I'm going to go ahead and drain the rest of this gas out of this tank, clean it up, and take this fuel pump out since we're using a mechanical fuel pump on this one. And go ahead and plumb the bottom of the tank so we can go ahead and put our fitting in there. I don't have the fuel pump that I'm going to use right now. I think it's called a Manuki or Manaki. I'm not sure. But go ahead and run the harness after this. Put my controls on. And I'm going to get a little bit closer to the finish line. Alright, I gotta go take that one over there, hide behind that chair to get something to eat. She is hangry. And we'll be right back. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm going to remove the fuel pump so I can go ahead and bolt in my fuel nipple. Now, there are some fuel nipples, or I guess that's what you call them. Really not sure. Online that I could buy, but man, they're like 2 weeks out, so what I'm deciding to do is I'm going to use a valve stem. I'm going to remove the valve cord, and you know, it bolts right in. There's rubbers and everything. I got my step drill over here, my step bit. I'm thinking I'm only need to go up to the second one, maybe the third one for the rubber. I'll figure that out when I get it out, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pull this pump out, drain out this old gas, and we're going to go ahead and tap this tank so we can get some fuel and use our vacuum pump. I think I said mechanical earlier, but the type of fuel pump I'm going to use is a vacuum pump. So let me go ahead and get this loose and I'll cut you guys right back in. Alright, fuel pump is out. Now I went ahead and cleaned the tank out. I washed it and shot a little bit of PB blaster up in there to, you know, just so I can get all the water out of all the moisture. Now we're just going to go ahead and flip it over. And we're going to tap the tank right here in the center, which is the lowest part of the tank. And yep, I'm going to shoot right for the center. Now this piece should sit pretty low in the tank. I'm going to kind of angle it that way, I think. Yeah, that way. And I'm going to get this hole drilled and get this tank tapped. Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing no measurements, none of that. I'm just going to be like, bam, right there. That should be good. All right. Get the hole drilled. Be right back on with you. I got the hole in the tank drilled. I got a piece of wire threaded through my makeshift fuel nipple, aka the valve stem. And it's running through the hole in the tank. And that'll help me get my fuel nipple right in the hole first time. So I'm going to go ahead and get that in there. Okay, the fuel neck is in, bolted in pretty good. It's tight. I went ahead and leak tested it. Poured some of my true fuel I have over here in there, and yeah, I'm almost out now. But yeah, it's all bolted in. You can see down in there. Give you guys a little light. Yeah, you can see in there it's bolted in. Now for this big gaping hole, I'm going to get some rubber sheet or plastic and just bolt it right on in there. Now here's the flank. This is the top bracket that holds the pump in. So I'm just going to sandwich in between there and there. Now I went ahead and trimmed up that rear fender I was telling you guys, so I didn't have enough clearance. Here's the tip in. I just cut it off, and what I did was, you can kind of see it had like a little tail down in there, a little beaver tail. So what I did is just kind of, you know, cut it to where I left that there, you know. And if you did know it was there, it was there, you wouldn't know it's gone. So I'm not worried about it. And then we go ahead and take the tank. Now I had to go ahead and cut a little access hole because the fuel nipple does stick down below, but it fits in pretty good. Yep, pretty good. And we can look under the bottom and see it just barely just sticks out right there. So I'm really not worried about running the fuel line under the bike. I mean, it's not a low rider, it's not going to be scraping, and plus it's just going to be a rubber hose, so I'm not worried about it. But I'm thinking I might just drill a hole here just so I can keep it tight to the bottom and then bring it back up. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stick some fuel line on that. Now, to begin with, I'm just gonna be using this fuel line here. Yeah, I can hear you guys screaming now. It's not good for fuel line, but getting this bike going for the first time, this is a brand new built engine. I just want to be able to see the fuel come up. So I'm just going to stick this on for now. And then once I know everything is running right, I'll change it out for some rubber line. Okay, now the fuel tank is all plumbed up. So I'm going to go ahead now and run that wiring harness. Here we get it out the box. All right. Here is my wiring harness. Yep, big ball of wires. Now I went ahead and robbed Peter to pay Paul. I took this off another scooter that I had. Mainly because this one already had an alarm on it, which I hope I can find the keypad to. If not, I will be unbolting that and putting it back the way it was without the alarm. But it's pretty simple. All my hand controls and stuff are still connected. Just gotta run my lines. So I'm gonna go ahead and map those lines out real quick to which way I want to run them and zip tie them down, and I'll cut you guys right back in after I get that on. All right, I got the wiring harness all ran down on the bike, and amazingly it plugs into a lot of the factory plug-ins on the Yamaha, like for the tail lights. Like right here, this is the tail light harness coming from the tail light, and this is coming from the harness that I just pulled off another bike. It plugs right in. It's a 6-pin, and I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but right beside the orange and the black, there's a hole missing. And now on the factory Yamaha side, there's a hole missing. So, hey, I might have got lucky, and this thing is just plug and play. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know. But this here is for the gas tank that came for the for this wiring harness. The fuel sending unit would have plugged right in there. And I can't remember what that plug is, but I'll figure it out later. Yeah, I went ahead and just used all the factory spots for the wiring harness. I zip tied it in a couple places just to keep it tight. Went ahead and bolted down the fuel tank. Yeah, you can see I got the wiring harness just running pretty much in the same factory position the other one did. Now this is here tripped out. This ignition that came with the other harness actually bolts right into the factory Yamaha spot. I mean, I don't know. I've already ordered a brand new ignition lock and the lock for the gas tank, and they're both coming in, which I really kind of do need to use the original, because this is how you open the trunk under the seat. It goes right into the ignition. So, but I just thought that was kind of weird. This thing is like bolting right up, you know. Now, I have to figure out the headlights for the bike. Now this headlight piece here, this wasn't actually a headlight. I was using a tail light from a bike because the headlight piece that this harness came off of, the screw it came off of, was broken. So and I needed a light in a pinch, so I kind of just wired something in. But this is the original harness, which I'm kind of glad I got this. There are still 3 wires running off the back of this, which is great. So yeah, you got my harness all fit and tucked in. I got my controls up here. Everything's sitting pretty good, you know. Now I still have to run my brake cable for my rear brakes. This is my front brakes. So yeah, guys, I mean, shoot, I didn't expect this harness to go on this smooth. And even if these pins for this tail light is different, you know, in different locations, I can just unpin some stuff and move it around, you know. I mean, that was a win. This is an old Chinese harness. Now, if you guys think I'm playing, this is not the Yamaha wiring harness. See, this harness here plugs, this is for my stator. It plugs directly into my stator here. So that's all Chinese. It's a Chinese wiring harness. And you can see in there the stator. Well, let's turn some light on. There's my stator. I have a 11 pole stator inside. And I gotta go find my magneto. I think I know where it's at. I hope I know where it's at, because if not, there's something else I'm going to have to order. Or I might can get it here in town. Not sure yet. Alright guys, I'm just going to show you guys for real. I'm not playing. This is a Chinese harness. It's all different. So let me show you real quick. Alright, as you can see, here's the Yamaha Zuma motor. The 50F motor, the 4-stroke 50 that I just took off, and the wiring harness is still plugged to this. Here's the computer that we took out. The speedo is still plumbed in. So yeah guys, for that to just plug right in and, you know, just bolt right up, I mean, I'm kind of shocked. Now here are my signals. I'm glad I came over here. Here's my front signals. I'm going to have to come over and take these off. And also what I'm noticing, my signal plugins for the Chinese wiring harness looks the same as these. So I'm just going to have to go, I'm going to go ahead and unbolt these and bring them over. See what they plug in. Alright, let me go get a screwdriver. Oh man, I don't know what to say guys. Luck has been with me on this build here. I got the signal lights off the Zuma wiring harness, the ones I forgot over there. And they bolted right up to the hand controls like they did on the Zuma. This one is pretty straight. This one I'm going to have to, you know, mess with. You see it's kind of cockeyed facing that way. No big deal. I'll just cut it and bring it over and weld it back up. No big deal. Or whatever. But man, check this out. They plugged right in. Right into the Chinese wiring harness. Now the scooter that this wiring harness came off was a knockoff Yamaha Vino. So whatever they call the knockoff Yamaha Vino, that's what this thing came off of, man. I mean, just look at that, guys. I mean, it's plug and play all the way down. Now I know the signals should be fine. It's just the tail light, like I said, I might have to mess around with. Oh, and yeah, and I went ahead and put the fuel line on the tank and drilled a hole right where I said I would. That keeps it flush up against the bottom of the bike. Oh, not kind of flush, but tight enough. And I'm not going to cut or do anything until I get the fuel pump in. So yeah guys, I mean, this thing is coming together. I don't know what to do at this point. I'm kind of like down to, well, I gotta make the plug for that, the cap for it, or whatever you want to call it. I'm down to waiting on parts now. I gotta find the magneto for my stator. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention, I got the exhaust all bolted on there, so it's not hanging there now. It's in there tight, and I mean, she is close on that bracket, you know, but there's, yeah, it's a little rubbish. You can see the line there. But 10-15 miles down the road, it won't be a clearance issue anymore. I'm just playing. I'm gonna pull it out and bend it a little bit. But yeah, guys, I mean, this build has been pretty easy going so far, and I don't want to jinx myself by saying that, but I think it's coming together. All right, well, I'm going ahead and just end this episode here, guys. But before I go, I'm gonna hang the plastic back on it so you guys can kind of get a visual of what the bike was going to look like. Now, some of you may have noticed that I didn't do a biggest how should I say, I didn't stretch it back as far as I was going to stretch it. You know, this wheel would have been clear past this fender. You know, the back of the wheel would have been right here. And I did that just because mainly handling issues, you know, agility. I didn't want it stretched out too long. You know, I've had super long stretch scooters before, and it's kind of wonky, man. You know, I don't like it. So I brought it back in a little bit. It's still stretched out further than what the factory would have been, what a factory engine set, because the other wheel set about right here. So she's a good, I want to say 8 to 10 inches back from a factory stance. Right now, everything is working out real good. You know, so, oh wait, can't go yet. I got to show you guys something else before I put the plastics on. Hold on. Alrighty, got all the panels on back on. And man, I'm saying she looking real good. But check out the handlebar. This is what I picked up at my buddy Shane's scooter shop, Budget Scooters of Las Vegas. Look him up. He's on eBay as well. He's trying to retire, so you guys go hit him up, visit his site, buy him out so he can go retire. But yeah, you got the nice little gold grips. This thing has like 3 shades of gold on it, but hey, I'm not tripping. One shade there, another shade on the shocks. Oh well, she's cool. But yeah, man, check it out. I don't know about you guys, but that stretch was perfect. I think bringing it back in was the right thing to do, because she was out a little bit too far. Yeah, I'm digging the bike, guys. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. I'm digging those handlebars. Might change the color. I don't know, but hey, whatever. It's silver. The shocks are silver. His plate thing is all over the place with the colors. Alright, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. When you come back, we'll be putting oil in this sucker. Gear oil, fuel. I had a fuel pump in. Hopefully to have the ignition by then, but if not, that will not stop us. We can use the one that's on the bike now. So, alright guys, I'll see you guys on part 2. I hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up, a like, a share. Alright, until next time, see you on the next video.